we'll see how my chainsaw runs today. I remembered the last time I ran it, I was actually having issues with it. That's way looser than it's supposed to be, but had issues with it overheating the bar. And I broke the saw down, and there was actually a small piece of gravel in the clutch, which sure wasn't helping, but even that didn't seem like it should overheat the whole bar. So I've got a different chain on it today, and I've cleaned the bar, but I haven't run the saw since. So we're going to set this better. Just make sure it's on the sprocket here. This is a new chain. I've never sharpened this one, so it should perform just fine without any introduction of error in the, the evenness of the chain or anything like that. But the chain will stretch, and I'll have to tighten it again in a moment.
Make sure you hit that like button and subscribe. You are going to see an accident coming up, but don't worry, there's no blood.
A couple things I wanted to make sure. I want to make sure it's oiling. And I want to make sure that that little bit of running didn't make this thing blisteringly hot. Appears there's oil on it.
I made a huge mistake while filming this video. This project's been going on for a little while. We actually cut down a bunch of alder trees in this area last year and just didn't have time to get back to limbing out all the treetops, and brush grew up through it. The huge mistake, however, was just not taking the chainsaw and absolutely how dangerous it is seriously enough. I am not the kind of guy who makes excuses for myself when I mess up, so I don't want you to think that anything I say in this video is me making excuses. However, looking back at what happens in this video, I do have insight on why the accident happens, as well as what I should have done leading up to the accident to prevent it in the first place. At the time when this first happened, before I'd actually gone through and reviewed the footage, I had no idea why it had happened. Because the adrenaline was so high, I was not thinking clearly about all of the factors. One of the benefits of putting my camera up was, in this case, since I captured this accident, I'm able to go back at a very low speed and review what actually happened. Literally what happens is faster than the eye, and it's definitely faster than you notice at 30 frames per second or even 60 frames per second at normal speed, normal playback speed. So I'm going to, when this accident happens, I'm going to slow the footage down right afterwards and have it go back and forth. It might seem a little weird that the footage is going kind of forward and backward. You might think it's happening over and over if you're not quite paying attention, but it's not. It's just I'm going to play it over and over. So here it comes.
Holy sh... Whoa. That's why you wear boots. Jeez.
Here I run the footage back and forth a couple times. You can actually see those lines appear on my boot as the saw passes.
Whacked me pretty hard, so I mean, my foot actually hurts. Definitely not cut through the boot, but it hit really hard. Wasn't just a glancing shot. So strange. All right, I gotta say I'm a little shook up by that incident that just happened. I honestly don't know why it happened. That's, if I was like, oh, I was doing something dumb, I was in an awkward position, I didn't have the saw kind of firmly gripped, something like that, I was cutting something weird, I might be like, okay, well, don't do that stuff. I felt like everything about that cut and how I was standing and position of the saw in my hands and how firmly I was holding it, everything seemed totally normal. And I've got really 3 good sized cuts in my boot. It didn't quite go all the way through my boot, but it's a thick boot. Hurt when it hit, which kind of made me, it just felt like a log hit it. Didn't feel like being cut because I'm not cut. But it was just very strange. I think I'm gonna have to take a break and just let that feeling pass, because it's just really weird. Don't like it.
What it really came down to with why I had that accident was simple geometry, and I did not observe the critical safety that geometry plays in that type of situation. I'm bucking up limbs in a big pile. Number one, there's a high potential that you change density of material, you got loose stuff in there, and you're going to catch on it. And with that saw running, screaming RPMs like that, those catches can be energetic. Number two, my foot was above the saw blade. So when it kicked, the saw arcs up. In a normal circumstance where your foot is below the saw, it's fairly safe. However, in this case, my foot was above the saw, and the saw made contact with my foot. In general, you do not want things above the saw. Really, you think about this as you're cutting in this situation where I've rearranged things to be a little safer for my feet. If the saw is to kick, the possibility is it kicks up and hits you in the center of the forehead. This is why you wear a hard hat and a face shield. I decided ultimately to stack limbs in this grapple and work up at a easier to control height, and this worked out safely for the rest of the afternoon. We got the bigger pieces of these alder tops bucked up and made into firewood for the fire pit. And then we're going to get the brush cutter in here, the Fairy Boom Mower T460, and we'll be cutting the salmon berries down and getting that prepped to put in a rope swing for the kids. I hope you found this video informative and it helps you be safer when you're using your chainsaw or other equipment. Observing critical safety is important. We should all do a better job of it and live longer, happier, and healthier lives for it. If you found this video informative, helpful, or just entertaining in any way, please like and subscribe to help support the channel and what we're doing here. Likewise, if you think this was an absolute waste of your time, please leave me a comment and let me know how much you hated it. At any rate, we'll be back at this again soon with another video. Thanks for watching.